Today's show is brought to you by Woodward, PA. If you're looking for last-minute summer plans for your kiddos, over 200,000 children have had the summer of a lifetime at Woodward, PA. It's an overnight summer camp for ages 7 to 17 through August 15th. Programs include all kinds of things: skateboarding, mountain biking, scooters, BMX freestyle and race, parkour, roller skating, creative arts. They've got something for everyone. And they're pretty close, located 3 hours from Pittsburgh, about 30 minutes from State College. If you act now, they're offering $300 off a full week of summer camp for any program. All you have to do is enter the code CITYCAST, all one word, at checkout and get your kiddo ready for an unforgettable summer. Go to woodwardpa.com.
Today's episode is supported by AIDS-Free Pittsburgh. There are more than 5,000 people living with HIV in southwestern Pennsylvania, and the Ryan White HIV/AIDS program provides support services to help them get the care they need. That includes assistance with things like healthcare, medications, housing, transportation, food, and treatment for substance use disorders. Visit aidsfreepittsburgh.org to learn more.
This is CityCast Pittsburgh. I'm Megan Harris, and here's what Pittsburgh's talking about.
Hey, executive producer Mallory Falk here, in for Megan. I am with CityCast producer Sophia Lo and CityCast Pittsburgh contributor and City Paper managing editor Colin Williams. Colin, Sophia, what is the worst bout of food poisoning you've ever had?
Ooh. Oh, man. I don't know how explicit you want me to get here, but I will just say I had some undercooked lamb shawarma during a trip to Chicago when I was fresh out of high school. And this was followed by going to a Cubs game in the pre-renovation Wrigley Fields. And I spent a lot of time in some of the most wretched bathrooms I've ever seen. Like, we're talking like black toilet seats, trough urinals, low light. And I'm just sitting there like, oh my God, like what should have been a very wonderful experience of a historic ballpark. So that's my story.
Recoiling hearing that.
I don't know how I got sick, but I left a trip in Ecuador early because I had food poisoning. I got it, I guess, like it kicked in as soon as I got on vacation. It was deeply upsetting. But I ended the trip early, but it included a 12-hour layover at an airport, maybe 8 hours. So I was literally curled up on the corner of the floor. And that's the first and hopefully last time I will ever be sleeping on the airport floor. But airport, also a horrible place to have food poisoning. There were these like motorized wheelchairs that kept beeping too. Like no one was in them. They were just going around the airport beeping, and that was like the worst sound in the world.
So it seems like the common thread is it like wasn't even the food poisoning, it was the bathrooms where you had to ride out the wave.
Yes, that was my experience for sure.
I think so. I think being at home and food poisoned is a very different experience than being food poisoned while traveling.
Because mine was a Qdoba taco bowl, I believe. For liability's sake, like I can't prove that's what made me sick. Just, you know, I had it earlier in the day. I was not in a great place that night, but I was in the comfort of my own childhood bedroom because this was when I was like 15. So I don't think I'm as permanently scarred as the two of you. I ask, of course, because we are talking today about the parasite that is wreaking havoc, making everyone second guess their salads, where things stand with cyclosporasis right now in Allegheny County, and some recommendations for the best cooked veggie dishes in Pittsburgh so you can get that fiber in without fear. We've also got the latest on the Parkway East closure. Like, are demons in fact walking the earth now, like Colin predicted last week?
Driving the earth, perhaps?
And then, as always, we've got a local win, loss, and thing to know. And on today's members-only bonus segment, in honor of the live stream of the Commercial Street Bridge explosion, we are talking about the best things that you can live stream in and around Pittsburgh. So stay tuned for those pro tips. If you want them and you are not yet a CityCast Pittsburgh neighbor, you can become one at membership.citycast.fm to unlock all of our great bonus content. But first, before we get into all of this, into many a type of explosion that has been terrorizing us lately, we have a favor to ask.
Yes, CityCast is doing our annual listener survey, and it would help us out so much if you took it. This is our chance to learn more about you and what you want from us so we can serve you and the city better. So this is going to benefit you too. And if you took it last year, please do take it again because we need new data. You can go to citycast.fm/survey. We'll also have the link in our show notes. And we timed it. It is a 7-minute survey. Super easy. Do it on the bus. Do it, if you need a little brain break. And when you take the survey, you're also eligible to win a $250 Visa gift card and some CityCast swag. So, do it for the money if you don't want our eternal gratitude, or do it for both. And again, citycast.fm/survey.
Yes, thank you in advance. You can use that $250 gift card if you win to get some nice cooked veggie dishes like the ones we are going to recommend on this show. Get those incredible but slightly pricey heirloom carrots at Fig and Ash, for example. Let's start with cyclosporasis because I feel like this has been the topic of conversation, this and the Parkway East closure all week. Sophia, I know you went down a real rabbit hole on this topic because you thought you actually might have fallen victim to this parasite.
Yes.
So tell us what you learned, but also first how you're doing. Are you okay?
Oh, I'm fine. I had really, really bad cramps on Monday, and also other things weren't going so well, but I was fine on Tuesday. So I assume I don't have it. I have tummy problems a lot, so just needed to check what's up. So what to know about cyclosporasis generally? I mean, the symptoms include diarrhea. That's the big one. The watery diarrhea you keep seeing in headlines, but also cramps, bloating, nausea, fatigue, loss of appetite. And this is caused by a parasite called cyclospora. So you get the poop parasite when you consume food or water that has it, but you don't really need to worry about person-to-person spread. And symptoms usually kick in about a week after you've eaten something contaminated. And the reason I was worried is because last week I got Taco Bell and ate the Taco Bell lettuce. I won't say lots of lettuce because it wasn't lots, but...
Of note, by the way, Taco Bell is not going to be serving lettuce on a number of their items. They've basically issued an order for all of their franchises and stuff like that to stop serving certain items to hopefully stem the risk of cyclosporasis. So I saw an article this morning in Futurism that was insinuating that Taco Bell may be sort of at the root of some of this stuff, but I think we're still waiting for all the chips to fall to see what the actual cause was.
Yeah, don't blame Taco Bell. I love them. We can't pin it on them yet because we're not really sure what caused this outbreak. Officials are investigating. Maybe it started in Michigan because there seems to be a hotspot of cases there. But previous outbreaks have come from things like lettuce, basil, raspberry, snow peas. So that's why you're seeing a lot of stuff like don't eat bagged salads, that kind of thing.
And I have to say, I was listening to an episode of What Next, this really great news podcast talking about this. And they were also saying another reason to not just immediately blame Taco Bell is Taco Bell is getting its, if it is indeed lettuce, it's getting that from a big provider, somebody who's sending lettuce probably all over the country to all kinds of places. And so probably Taco Bell is not the beginning and end of this issue.
But Taco Bell is, working harder than some other brands to stop the spread. So that's another win for me for Taco Bell.
Live Moss, just without lettuce this time. I think one complicating factor in this, too, is the fact that a lot of people are flagging that the CDC and the National Institutes of Health and some of these other federal organizations have been cut back pretty drastically under the DOGE regime and various other Trump administration-related cuts. So cyclospora has actually not been super tracked. And I think part of the issue here is that we're kind of playing catch up a little bit. These are outbreaks that probably would have been identified a little bit sooner if we had some of that disease scanning in place. So that's sort of another facet to this as a public health issue, is that we kind of don't know what we don't know at this point in time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it also is common for cyclosporasis to spike around this time of year, but what's really different is the numbers, because NPR reported that about this time last year, there were about 250 cases across the country. And the CDC, as of Tuesday, reports there are 1,645 cases. So way, way more. And obviously, cases tend to be underreported because the main symptom, diarrhea, most of the time you're not going to the doctor right away for that. And then also if you're going to the doctor, they need to test for cyclospora. That's not typically included in your usual stool sample.
Yeah, if you suspect you have this, the advice that Allegheny County Health Department has given is that you should definitely see a doctor. There is a specific regime of antibiotics that they will put you on that will help eliminate the symptoms and get rid of the parasite. And right now in Pittsburgh, like as far as how worried folks should be, the biggest hotspots are not in Pennsylvania. But we do know that there are at least 11 cases in Allegheny County. The health department reported this on Tuesday. They also issued a bunch of advice for folks. And this is up significantly from 2 reported cases in 2025 and 6 in 2024. People are saying basically to expect that this could last into August. But the advice here is pretty simple. Wash your hands. Cyclosporasis can go away and come back, so just make sure you see a doctor, get those antibiotics if you think you have this, get tested. And a big piece of advice as well has been avoiding raw vegetables. I saw that the health department, they suggested scrubbing produce and things like that, but a lot of other folks are suggesting to cut out raw vegetables altogether. I had someone yell at me on social media today for suggesting that washing vegetables was enough. So if you want to be extra precautious, I will say cooking your vegetables to 158 degrees Fahrenheit is the way to go. But the one interesting wrinkle here is that unlike with COVID, hand sanitizer, bleach, and vinegar don't actually work that well against this parasite. So the real sort of workable methods are washing with soap and water and adding heat.
I had someone today freak out about not having fresh fruit because they were so scared. Well, they had heard from someone else that, even if you're cutting through a watermelon with rind, if there's some on the rind and you cut through the melon, the knife is going to transfer things. I don't know. I'm not that worried. I'm not going to stop eating watermelon.
No, I'm trusting the fruit and the vegetables from my CSA because I don't think that those were handled and put in a bag by people at Taco Bell.
Yes, and I did. Something else that I learned from that podcast episode was that so far, at least, historically, there has not been cases of cyclosporasis traced back to produce from like smaller local farms. It's really these bigger producers that seem to run into this issue.
As if we needed another reason to eat local.
So hit up your farmers markets this weekend.
Exactly. One other thing, Sophia, I know you said it typically can show up about like a week after eating something. I've seen 2 weeks. So just, a note that if you had something lettuce-based at Taco Bell a week ago and think you're in the clear, you might need to wait 1 more week just to see.
Well, you'll be in the clear if you eat our favorite cooked veggie dishes in Pittsburgh. Mallory, I know you mentioned the carrots from Fig and Ash. Colin, do you have a favorite veggie dish?
Oh, man, that's a good question. I really like Brussels sprouts at a lot of different restaurants. That'll be my go-to. So if I'm seeking out a cooked veggie dish, I'll probably go for Brussels sprouts.
Any particular places that do it well?
I don't know. I just eat a lot of like burgers and stuff. So no, I'm being a little facetious. I did just eat some really good Thai gourmet the other day that was full of good cooked veggies. So I had a nice pineapple curry that I felt very safe eating in the comfort of my own home.
Good choice. I will also smash any garlicky green bean dish from any Chinese restaurant. I mean, they're also super easy to make at home, but sometimes it is nice for someone else to cook for you. I also think a lot of Chinese restaurants are a pretty safe bet because a lot of Chinese veggie dishes are cooked anyway. So you're not like trying to decide between 5 salads when you sit down at one.
Personally, I got to shout out the baby bok choy and black mushrooms at Chengdu Gourmet and Squirrel Hill. All their veggie dishes are excellent. So that would be my personal choice in addition to those heirloom carrots.
And we actually have an article on our website with a few more suggestions. So we'll link that in the show notes too. But you can check that out at pittsburgh.citycast.fm.
Okay, on to other exploding things. The Commercial Street Bridge. We talked last week on the show about what we were expecting to happen, but now things are actually happening. A section of the Parkway East is closed. The Commercial Street Bridge is down. So we thought we'd just kind of check in and see, like, now that we're a week into this thing, how bad is it? What do we need to know?
I'm so mad I missed the live stream of the bridge falling down. It was supposed to happen on Wednesday. There was a very long window, 1 to 9, and I had it pulled up on my computer, that whole window, and then they postponed it to Thursday morning, and the bridge exploded when I was in my boxing class.
I did stay up to watch this live stream. I had it actually up on my TV starting around 7:30 or 8 p.m. And then, of course, word came through that the actual detonation had been postponed for safety reasons. So I ended up spending like a good half an hour literally watching a guy in a backhoe just move a pile of gravel from one position to another and then move it back for some reason. So for anybody who was like really glued to their TV or who actually went down to Squirrel Hill to try and see this implosion, they were sorely disappointed. The bridge was actually detonated Thursday morning at 8 a.m. instead. So some good video footage, but it was a little disappointing not to see it live.
Yeah, I saw this story in WTAE where they actually talked to people who'd like gone and gathered at the Somerset Development and Walnut Towers to watch. And then, it was a real womp womp moment. So I can imagine if you actually like tried to get there physically in person and then just went home without having witnessed more than the backhoe, that would be a real disappointment.
Yeah, but the video is cool. It is a big boom. The actual implosion is now complete. There are still some chunks standing, but most of the bridge is now lying along the 9 Mile Run Valley floor. And the next steps here are actually cleaning up the debris and preparing for the big slide of the new bridge.
Yes.
So
live stream still going. We can watch it still.
Yeah, the sliding of the bridge should be pretty cool in and of itself. I'm hoping for some good time lapses out of that. One added wrinkle to this whole thing is you all may have noticed that the air quality outside is quite bad because of the wildfires in Canada. And officials have warned that the bridge implosion may actually make air quality even worse for residents in the immediate area because there are fine particulates. There's potentially lead and asbestos in the old bridge structure. So if you notice a particularly fine coating of dust on your car in the morning, you may have been impacted by that. This raised another question for me, which was I was curious with this bridge running over a creek valley that has been remediated after years of industrial pollution. That's 9 Mile Run. And that trail is actually closed now, too. I was curious what happened with the creek, but DEP apparently worked with PennDOT to make sure that the implosion wasn't going to affect it too much. So they have filter socks all around the area, and they actually put up a temporary bridge for vehicles.
Is this like an actual term for some like technical thing or like literal socks?
They're basically big old socks full of like wood mulch and things that can filter out some of the particulate pollution that might come off this implosion. So it helps keep that stuff from running down into the creek during rains and things like that.
Interesting. Well, I know there were so many questions about like how terrible is traffic actually going to be. So what have we seen? How much of a nightmare is this thing?
I was so worried on Sunday because I saw pictures of just a huge traffic jam in Homestead, which I know part of the detour runs through there, but I think that had to do with a lot of people watching the big boy train. So I think like it hasn't been quite as bad as I expected like during the work week. I thought rush hour was going to be awful. And at least when I've been driving around the East End, it's been a little slow, but not terrible.
I don't know. My husband was trying to make a what we realize now is an ill-advised Costco run earlier this week, and it took 45 minutes just to get to the bridge. And at that point, he had to turn around to do daycare pickup. So I think Homestead might still be pretty tough.
Yeah, for all you Costco members, maybe go to the Robinson location instead of the Homestead location if you need to get a big $10 Kirkland pizza or something. For what it's worth, I was saying demons will walk the earth and stuff last week, and I actually really haven't noticed that big of a difference. There's slightly heavier commuter traffic, I think, in the East End, but this seems mainly to have affected people who have that commute via the Squirrel Hill Tunnel or who live in the eastern suburbs. Also, yesterday, there was a water main break along Braddock Avenue and Regent Square, so that definitely slowed things up a little bit, given that that's on the detour route.
Yeah, I did see a lot of traffic on that one road yesterday, and I was wondering why.
But yeah, other than that, it seems like it's maybe added a few minutes here and there. I did see somebody commenting that their bus commute on the first day of the detour was extremely slow. But anecdotally, it sounds like folks are maybe experiencing a little bit less as people kind of get used to this traffic pattern, adjust their schedules and that.
I did ask my Regent Square correspondent who said like it's pretty backed up on Braddock and that 7 to 9 seems to be the worst time. So, maybe heed that warning and avoid the area if you can. But I also imagine 7 to 9, that's when people who've like got to be out doing some kind of morning commute are.
Yeah, and to the bus point, I think the buses still are a little slow, especially around Oakland. detours are going through there as well. So I think definitely for your bus route, add a few extra minutes. But one fun note to end on, Rebridge live stream. There was someone who proposed, like a construction worker. I saw this on Instagram on the Oneberg account. It's so fun. And I think that is so cute. She said yes, apparently. So I'm so happy someone is using the Bridge live stream for hijinks and bits and love.
I'm looking at this now. Yeah, like holding on the live stream, holding up a sign saying, "Kaylee, will you marry me?" with a little heart. This is very sweet. Okay, we are back and it's time for a shout out from a CityCast Pittsburgh neighbor.
Yes, today's shout out is coming from Scott R. and he is shouting out Ascend Climbing. They've got 2 locations in Pittsburgh, one in the South Side and one in Point Breeze. And Scott says that Ascend Pittsburgh is such a great climbing gym with really awesome staff. And he says that, you should go whether you've never climbed before or you've been crushing it for decades. And Ascend Climbing also leads outdoor trips in the area. So if you want to climb outside, that's a really great opportunity. And if you're looking for a new climbing gym, this could be it, because I know FA and Station Square just announced they'll be closing. So thank you, Scott, for this recommendation. If you want to share something you love like Scott, become a CityCast Pittsburgh neighbor and send us your shout out. We'll read it right here, and you can join today at membership.citycast.fm.
And welcome to our newest neighbors, Patricia B. and Kaylee G. Kaylee joined because, quote, "I love the inside scoops, recommendations, and hot goss." Welcome to you both. We are going to keep serving up that hot goss for you. Okay, moving on to a local win, loss, and thing to know. We're going to start with some big staffing changes here.
Yeah, this was an interesting week for staffing in the city's public safety area. So there is a new interim warden at the jail, and our fire chief has also retired. And similar to what we've seen with some of these other personnel moves and kind of reshuffles under Pittsburgh Mayor Corey O'Connor, the fire chief, Daryl Jones, who's been serving in that position for about 19 years since 2007, he was placed on a vague sort of paid leave for, quote, internal review. And the city was very coy about why this was. The mayor's spokesperson declined to say anything about it. But it was just announced this week that, quote, "it is in the best interest of the city to move forward under new leadership," because this current chief, Daryl Jones' leadership was, quote, "inconsistent with the mayor's vision." So Assistant Chief Matt Davis is going to be taking over in the interim. It still is kind of unclear, what the next steps will be there. But Jones has some PTO to burn through, and he will officially leave that position on September 16th. So O'Connor's spokesperson told WESA that it's actually too early to say whether the city will do a big national search or if it's going to look to promote from within the borough. There's been a little bit of pressure to promote from within. And then the other piece of this is Allegheny County Jail Warden Trevor Wingard is also out, and his tenure was much shorter. He was in that position for a little less than 2 years. He says he's moving to North Carolina to be closer to family. I was surprised to see praise from Allegheny County Councilor Bethany Hallam, who's been a notorious critic of the Allegheny County Jail, and from County Executive Sarah Namorato for dealing with what they said was a very bad situation at the jail and improving it. They both noted that the medical care for incarcerated people there has improved under Wingard. So his successor will have kind of a high bar to clear there in that arena. And in the interim, Deputy Warden Connie Clark will be taking over on August 1st.
Yeah, PG kind of has this interesting article with like a lot of officials praising Wingard that he really has made progress when it comes to the conditions there. I mean, Bethany Hallam, of course, not only a council member, but a member of the jail oversight board. And so the fact that it seems like there's sort of consensus of Wingard was making some noticeable changes and a lot of concern about, like, can we find a replacement who can keep that progress going? So I think that's something there's a lot of anxiety around. Can someone build on the work Wingard's done, or are we going to go back to where we were previously? A loss this week, we've got another beer-related closure. It feels like this section has become like brewery closure corner a little bit.
I guess the good news in this one is that this brewery itself isn't closing down. Their lease is up at their Strip District location. We're talking, of course, about Helltown Brewing. They currently occupy a 2-story tap room that's at 1700 Penn Avenue in the Strip. And this one actually has as much to do with just the rapid development of the Strip as it does with changes in the food and drink industry. So developers Jonathan Moritz and Francois Bitz, they want to build a 14-story condo development on the site. This has actually been contested. The zoning board previously rejected the height variance that they're seeking to build that high.
They should open a brewery on like the first floor. That'd be fun. Well, I guess you'd want to live on top of a brewery, but for some people, could be a win.
I would love to live on top of a brewery personally, but I did see some sadness on Reddit that there weren't plans to actually secure a space for Helltown in this new development. But their lease was going to be up in August anyway. This is a development that's been planned for a few years now. And if all goes to plan with the height variance, then these two are hoping to break ground by summer of 2027. So Helltown says that this is not their swan song in Pittsburgh. They have teased plans to remain in the city. But it is a loss. You know, the tap room's gone after 6 years, and it's kind of a sign of the times in the Strip that there's just so much housing development happening right now. The one thing that kind of got me a little bit about this is that just down the street, that demoed Woolies warehouse is still a freaking parking lot. So it's clear that there is appetite for vertical construction in the Strip. I'm begging somebody to make that happen. That is just the worst land use I can think of in that neighborhood.
And I know, what's going on with Helltown in this tap room. It's like a little bit more complicated. But if you are wondering, like, what is going on with Pittsburgh's brewery scene? Are we still going to have local spots to go to? We did an episode about this recently. And the picture is like a little bit rosier than you might think. So we will drop that in our show notes. Definitely check it out to get an inside scoop on what's going on.
And our win for the week, Homewood Pool is finally up and running. It's open. Maybe don't check it out until the air quality gets better, but I'm excited too.
This is, I think, the first time in living in Pittsburgh for 11 contiguous years now that 17 of 18 of our public pools are open. So the only one that remains closed is the Sheridan pool in the West End. Apparently, they have issues there with their filtration system because it's in a very heavily forested area. So there's lots of leaf debris. But that's a big deal, I think. We've got pools pretty much everywhere in town. I will say this pool is not what I would call huge. It looks like there are about 3 lap lanes and there's a nice open swim area, but it is a nice new facility. And I like the fact that they have some Homewood touches there as well. The Homewood youth football team, the Bulldogs, are playing on the field right next to that. That's also been recently reconstructed for their use. And they've got little blue bulldog paw prints leading to the pool.
That's so cute.
In other pool news this week, there is a new policy at the city pools. The city is not calling it a chaperone policy. They're calling it family swim. But I think you could argue that it effectively is a chaperone policy, that anybody under 15 needs to be accompanied by an adult 21 or older during certain times. So in the evenings and on the weekends.
I feel like this policy is sort of 50-50, like a good idea, because there have been fistfights at some of these pools where kids are going unsupervised and getting into spats of various kinds. But it also seems like a little bit of a sort of moral panic response to this whole national fear of teen takeovers that's spreading right now. I will say I was at Highland Park Pool just this past weekend, and it was packed and things were going really well. I mean, it was a very peaceful, nice gathering. I didn't see any evidence of teen takeovers.
Yeah. And all of this, these chaperone policies, this idea of teen takeovers, it's something we've been talking about a lot on the show. So if you have thoughts on this, call into our Kids in Public hotline, 412-212-8893. That is going to be it for today's main show. But if you are a CityCast Pittsburgh neighbor, you get to stick around for a roundup of the best Pittsburgh live streams, which, given the air quality issues, given the heat, this feels very timely. This is something you can do from the air-conditioned comfort of your own home if you are lucky enough to have AC at home. If you want to get access to this roundup and all of our great bonus content, plus member events and other great perks, become a member today at membership.citycast.fm. That's all for today here on CityCast Pittsburgh. You can support us by becoming a CityCast Pittsburgh neighbor. You can learn more about that at membership.citycast.fm. Our music is by Los Mocochetes, Aaron Taylor Waldman, All the Kimonos, Benji, and Bagel, with additional mixing by Tyler Lindgren. Megan Harris is our usual host. Sophia Lo produces the show. Laura Tsutsui writes our newsletter. Adrian Gonzalez is our post-producer. Rachel Carlson is our audience development manager. And I am the team's executive producer, Mallory Falk. We will be back on Monday with more from around the city. Have a great weekend, and if you're going, enjoy Picklesburg. What food would you risk getting the poop parasite for?
Literally anything, I guess. I had a burger last night with lettuce. I don't even like lettuce on my burgers that much. I'm just like, I constantly have stomach issues. I can't be worrying about something else.
I think my answer is larb, which is that like Thai minced chicken salad with like lots of fresh lettuce and cilantro. I love that stuff. I would absolutely eat larb, even if I got the poop parasite. It'd be worth it.